Welcome to another Demarcation Media action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Nendoroid. This is Soldier 76, the classic skin edition, although I don't think they've made any other editions yet. So this is Nendoroid number 976. Obviously this is from Overwatch. We get a nice look at his mask face on there, running and shooting on the top. I was actually surprised about the size of this box. It's actually very small. This is my second Nendoroid, and the first one, who was Toon Link, had a much bigger box. But basically you get a bunch of shots just spread all over the box, a bunch of stuff nobody reads. And for those of you who may know, there are a lot of bootleg Nendoroids out there on the market. One of the best ways to figure out if yours is bootleg or not is to buy it and then see if it is sealed with the circle tape or not. So, pretty standard box for like a Nendoroid, and that's about it. The inside is a very nice red lining, and you could pull that out to use for displays if you wanted to, but I don't think I'll be doing that. And here he is in all of his bobbleheaded glory. So he's got quite a few accessories. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of his stuff from him. And we're going to take a look at the figure itself first. And then we'll move on to all of the extras. For those of you who don't know what Nendoroids are, they are a line of kind of action figures that are made in this Chibi style. Some of them have a fair amount of joints, some of them are pretty limited. This guy in particular has a fairly articulated system. You can see he's got a bunch of little joints. And they always come with this stand because their big fat head usually makes them fall over. However, this guy, with the proper amount of fiddling, and of course, as I say that, it's not going to happen on camera. Oh, there we go. With the proper amount of fiddling, he can stand up on his own. So while he's on the ground, let me give you a bit of a size comparison real quick. That is a Mega Construx figure. So you can see these Nendoroids are quite small. They have about as many joints as a Mega Construx figure though. So what we've got here is we have a swivel shoulder, like that. Obviously, it cannot move all the way around because the head is in the way. He can T-pose, which is very nice. Bicep swivel, elbow joint, and a peg wrist. So that's pretty good. Now, I will mention right off the bat that a lot of these Nendoroid joints are just pegs in holes, which means, like, especially the bicep swivel, as you move it, they can work their way out a little bit, and you have to push it back together. Same with the waist. I believe if I were to just pull, he would come in half. So, if you get an Nendoroid and that happens, don't freak out. Just pop it back together. With the legs, there is a ball and socket joint in there, I believe. So he can bring up his leg about that much, which is respectable for how chubby this guy is. And then he has also a pretty respectable knee bend. It's about 90 degrees, not bad. There is some articulation in the feet, but it's just that. That's pretty much it. Good for adjusting for some poses, but not much else. And you can rotate the leg a little bit, and then his waist swivels all the way around like that. And then the head can look up, it can look down, and spin all around. Now, you do get, let me grab it, you get an extra neck joint. So that's what's in there. And sometimes what can happen is you can turn the head separate from the joint so that when you try to move him up and down, suddenly it doesn't work that way anymore, and the head wants to tilt side to side. That just takes some fiddling to fix. So articulation is surprisingly good for such a small, fat figure. Some of the joints are a little loose, particularly in the legs. which if that's too bad when you get it, you can always fix that by popping the limb that's loose off and then kind of making the ball joint bigger or whatever. But look at that. Look how cute that is. There we go. You can get a look around the back and you see the peg hole. That is what this stand is for. So if you want him doing more intense poses like running, it's easier. That's very cool. Very, very cool. So the articulation is pretty impressive for a figure of this size. But is the aesthetic and the quality just as impressive? I think for the quality, I'd say yes, it's pretty good. Like I said, there are some loose joints. And when you get in close to the fingers and kind of the edges of some of these white parts, it's a little bit less than crisp, which on the box, obviously, it shows everything like razor sharp. But in real life, things aren't quite like that. For the most part, though, he feels pretty solid. And he doesn't feel like he's going to break. Like I said, though, some of the joints are on just pegs. You can see here, it separates a little bit. Sometimes it wants to work its way out and want to fall off. Looks-wise, though, I think for the most part, he looks great, especially up at the head. That visor is fantastic. I think it looks amazing. The hair looks really nice. He's even got the 76 around the back. And his little, like, cloth covering or whatever it is. He even has this little tiny handgun over here, which is hilarious. So, looks-wise, I think they nailed it. And you can also... Let me see if I can do this right. It takes some working. My camera's going to be freaking out the whole time. There we go. There we go. There we go. Poink. And look! They gave him an actual face, and he looks like a baby. That's hilarious. That is actually hilarious, especially because Jack Morrison is a very gruff, Batman-like character, and then seeing him looking like a baby is just great. You can also remove the rest of the mask. I'm not entirely sure the point of that. Then you can take the face off, but the face is not quite compatible with a lot of the other Nendoroids. So, like I said, I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe they're anticipating making different faces for the different skins. But for now, whoops, I'm putting that on upside down. For now, he just has the one. But, so now we can kind of start moving into the accessories. So that's the visor, and that's actually a see-through visor. The whole thing is printed on, come on, camera. I seem to have confused my camera. There we go. So the whole thing here is printed on a clear piece of plastic, and then they put silver over top, which means light can kind of shine through some of the edges. I don't think that's a problem. I think it looks good as is. And then we get a secondary faceplate with the tactical visor deployed. So that just fits on, same as the other one, like so. And then look at that. He has his tactical visor. And I think that looks really cool. Just, that's so cool. Only thing that would have made it cooler is a few, like, prints on there that showed, I don't know, like some targeting symbols or something. But as it is, I think that is really neat. And as an accessory, that is a great one. So let's jump in and look at the other accessories because we've got a fair pile to look at. Alrighty, here we go. So we have, let me go through this. You saw the neck peg, so we're just going to set that aside. We have a golf club. I don't play Overwatch, so I do not understand why there's a golf club, but it's nice looking. It's a neat piece, and I'm sure I can find some photographic uses for this. And actually, I wonder, He can! Oh, yes, look at that! It scales to Mega Constructs. It's a little loose in the hand, but that's actually really cool. Okay, so golf club fits with Mega Constructs. That's neat. He comes with a hand for holding said golf club. Now, you're going to have to look at the instructions to confirm this if you get this figure, like I had to. But I thought this golf club holding hand was for the gun, and it can hold the gun, but it does not hold it very well, and so it pops free all the time, and I was getting frustrated at it. But that is not what this hand is for. That is for the golf club. While we're on the subject of hands, we have a very babyish looking open hand. The other side is currently on Soldier, so you get 2 of these. And you get a little pointy finger. You only get 1 of these. So this is a, let's see, this would be the left side pointy hand. So that's pretty cool. We don't get any sort of fists in here, which is a little disappointing to me. Here is the heavy pulse rifle. Pretty simple. They definitely cut back on some of the detail. And like I said with Soldier himself, some of the edges here are less than crisp, which is a little disappointing. But I still think it's a pretty good accessory. Come on, can you focus here? You can see the barrel, and you can see some little gaps up here. That is for this amazing effect piece. So those pegs stick in just like that, and then suddenly the gun is shooting. Now, you can actually take the effect piece in half, so if you just want the kind of flare part of it, you can, and then you just have this kind of clear cone, which unfortunately cannot stick onto the gun by itself. But I think that looks great. I love effect pieces, and this one is no exception. We have this little thing here. Again, I don't play Overwatch, so I don't know what this is. I think it's some sort of healer beacon. But it's very pointy. It's very pointy, so you gotta be careful. And it's not, like, it's slightly flexible, but you could actually hurt yourself on this. There's a little bit of print on the top there in white. Looks pretty good. Again, I don't really know what this is, so there's less significance for me than for people who played Overwatch. And then, last but certainly not least, we have some missiles, because the heavy pulse rifle has a little missile container mounted on the bottom. So it's a cluster firing out with some smoke trails, and they give you this little stand here. You can peg it in like that, and then the base here sticks on there. So you can pose him up with his gun. Come on, focus now. Sometimes I just want to beat my camera. It does not want to do what I want it to do. There we go. So you can pose it up like that. You can stick the gun in his hand and, you know, set him up in a pose, have him firing. I think that's really cool. He currently has the trigger finger hand and then the opposite holding hand for the little lineup of hands there. Well, there you have it. That is the Soldier 76 Nendoroid. Now, Nendoroid price ranges are ridiculous. They range all over the place. It's so wacky and just doesn't make any sense. Luckily, though, this guy is one of the cheaper ones. For some reason, he's just kind of across the board cheaper. I got this guy for 16 bucks. You can find him between $15 and $23 on average. And I think that's a very fair price. You get a lot with this figure. There's a lot of posing options. There's a lot of display options. There's these cool effect pieces. The visor effect is really nice. So I think that's a really fair price. I'm pretty impressed with this guy. Like I said, there are a few things here and there, like the joints can kind of want to work themselves apart sometimes, and the gun can fall out of his hand, but for the most part, this guy is really good. And he's also, I would say, a respectable replacement for the Figma Soldier 76 because that guy is, for some reason, super elusive. And if you're wanting a good Soldier 76 figure, I would definitely recommend this guy, especially over the Hasbro version. Unless, of course, you really don't like the Chibi style. But what's not to like about it? What's not to like about a vigilante baby soldier? So I definitely recommend you track this guy down. If you haven't tried the Nendoroid line, this is a great introduction. Or if you know the Nendoroid line, you may just be nodding along to everything I'm saying because you already have this figure and know more about it than I do. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.